So to understand acetylide reactions with carbonyl compounds, acetylide reactions with carbonyl compounds is the purpose of this objective. And so a couple terms that you've got to have ready at hand are acetylide reactions. Acetylide, of course, comes from acetylene, which is right. And recall, please, that we can deprotonate that. Right, with a reason, which is pretty unusual. We're not expecting normally to be able to deprotonate a hydrogen which is bonded to a carbon. What's the pKa of that hydrogen? What is the pKa of that hydrogen? Please pause the video and look up the pKa of that hydrogen. And then the next question is, what base could deprotonate that? Please pause the video and look that up. Okay, so this is an acetylide ion. Of course, this has the same basic structure, right? And so acetylide ion could be a lot of things that has got a carbon-carbon triple bond at the end, or at some portion of it with a as a carbon ion. All right, what about carbonyl compounds? Of course, we've got a ton of those, and we generally write them out like that. Almost all of them have at least one alkyl group on them. And then here, this could be an alkyl group, CH3, could be a methyl group, could be ethyl, could be tributyl, in which case these would all be ketones. If it's a hydrogen, this is what? If this is a hydrogen, what is this compound? Okay, if this is a hydroxyl, what is this compound? If it's a hydrogen, what if it's an alkyl group? What is it? What if it's a hydroxyl? What is it? What if it's an NH2? What is it? Okay. Please consider. What if it's an alkoxy group? What is it? Okay. So these are carbonyl compounds. So these are the two terms you have to be thinking of. These need to be all right. Now, what do we expect when we see an acetylide compound? And so what you want to do is you want to think of the simplest possible reaction for every objective, as I've said before. Think of the simplest possible reaction. And so I'm going to ask you to, please consider pausing the video right now and thinking of the simplest possible acetylide reaction with a carbonyl compound. Okay? Alright, so the simplest one I can think of is formaldehyde and acetylene, or acetylide, right? The very simplest one. Okay, so what do we expect? We expect that to go here, boom, and that to go here. Right? That's what we expect from that. Now, if we throw in one proton, what do we expect to happen here? Boom, right? Okay, so this is generally what we're expecting. That's a triple bond. I know that's linear. Pardon me for drawing it like that. Okay. So that's what we're expecting for simplest case scenario. Now the simplest case, of course, I didn't put the hydrogens on here. All right, but that's generally what we're expecting for acetylide reactions with carbonyl compounds. All right, what's the next simplest one? Well, I don't know, maybe acetone. All right. Okay. And then adding a very weak base to the, very weak acid to this, or weak acid, relatively weak acid. I think pyridinium is recommended. Right? That's a good question. Why? Why not HCl? Okay. Acetylide reactions with carbonyl compounds.